Hey y'all. Hey y'all. Hey y'all. I'm gonna invite my friend that is also a stepmama. But y'all, I have these moments. And I need some mom advice here. Hey Christy, hey girl. As always, I'm going to try to make this as kind as possible. Hey Stephanie, girl, you're a mama. You can, maybe these are just things I'm catching because of our scenario and our situation. But maybe they're just normal mom things too. So I'm glad I got some mamas hopping on. There are things that happen, hey Callie, hey girl, that have shocked me along this road of becoming a mom. And some things are shocking because I'm a new mom. And other things are shocking because I'm a stepmom who has stepped into the role of full-time mom. And okay, I try to stay away from comparison. That's a dangerous road. There's no point. Callie, you're my favorite. There's no point in comparison. There's no point jumping on that slippery slope of comparison, especially comparing people or roles. It's not good. There are, however, if I'm being completely honest, situations that make me feel like I want to do that or I need to do that. And they're completely false. I know it's a trap. I've been down that road. There's no point in going, okay, let's make a list of what a mom should be doing, or ways that people have been parents and not been parents. And so I'm not trying to make this about that, but this is one of those moments that is so simple, but it teeters on the line of, I don't know if this is because of our situation that it's hitting me or if it's a normal mom thing that hits me. And so that's why I'm sharing it, because sometimes I feel like I have been blessed with this perspective of becoming a mom to a child who's a little bit older and stepping into the role as full-time mom, you know, through the title of stepmom. And it's given me this perspective that sometimes it's totally just every mom gets it, and sometimes it's this unique space where you can see in a little bit more because of the situation and circumstance surrounding it. I hope that makes sense. I'm trying to explain why this hit me hard without making anyone look bad. But at this point, I think most people know my heart. So I'm just gonna jump in. It's so simple, y'all. It's so simple. Today, let's just start here. Today, I had to run some errands, and so I go to Target. And while I'm at Target, I also meet up with my beautiful friend, and we're just having some coffee before I grab, you know, my couple groceries. And in Target, I don't know if y'all ever know Target, but you don't get cell phone service there ever. And so I realized I had a voicemail all of a sudden. And I listened to the voicemail, and it's Jackson from the school. And he's saying that he has a hole in his pants, happened at recess, and he needs more pants. And I realized that my phone didn't ever ring, but I had 3 missed calls. No, 2 missed calls and a voicemail. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I call back right away. I talked to the school, I talked to him, and I said, buddy, I'm on my way, right? So I'm heading over there with some new pants. Y'all are like, this is so simple, girl. It's so simple, but this can be very profound. So I get there, and they have him, you know, up there at the front desk, and they're like, we played it off, it's no big deal. Like, they saw it happen at recess, no one even caught on. And I see him, And first off, let me back up. When I talked to him on the phone, he's like, "Hey mom, hi mom, hi mom. I need new pants. Is that okay?" And I didn't catch that he asked me, "Is that okay?" until I started walking into the school. And it was like, he asked me if it's okay for me to bring him more pants. And I was like, oh, he was in front of them, like he's just being a sweetheart like he always is. And so I walk in and I see him, and he's got his shirt way down low because the poor guy ripped right in the back, and he runs up to me and he just hugs me. And I looked at him and I said, "Buddy, I'm so sorry that I didn't catch the call right away. I was in Target." And he knows too, like we don't get service in Target. And so I kind of had his little face like this. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, but I brought your pants." And he goes, "You were in Target?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, well, like you stopped what you were doing?" And I said, "Yeah, buddy." And he's like, "You stopped what you were doing to bring me pants?" And I said, Of course I did. Like nothing's more important than you." And so all of a sudden, he like kind of does this number, goes, gives me this great big hug, goes, "I love you, Mom." And then she's like, "Buddy, I got a bathroom back here, you can change." And so then I'm waiting for his ripped pants. I'm like, might as well bring those home with me. And as I'm waiting, I'm talking to the lady at the desk. I said, "Is he okay?" Because he looked like he had been crying. And she said, "Yeah, he didn't get emotional in front of any of the kids, but when we got here and he had to call you, he got emotional." And I said, "Oh my gosh," it hit me. I said, "Well, I'm so sorry I didn't answer the first time." And she said, "Well, he was fine after he talked to you and all of that." And so he comes back out, and I look at him and I say, "Buddy, again, please forgive me. I didn't come right away." And he goes, "What do you mean you didn't come right away?" I said, "I didn't answer my phone right away. I didn't hear it." And he goes, "No." He goes, I was worried. But as soon as I heard you, I was okay." And I said, "Were you embarrassed? Were you, like, did people see?" And he goes, "No." And he goes, I didn't want to make it to where you had to choose to come here." And again, I said, "Buddy, you're the most important thing. This is not of course." And he just hugs me again, super tight. And he goes, "I just love you so much. Thank you for coming." And he left. And I knew in that moment what it was. He wasn't emotional about ripping his pants. He wasn't emotional the fact that it happened. In all honesty, as he was like about to walk out, he started joking about it. Like, that's a funny thing for him, ripping his pants. He was emotional because he had to call from a place of being at school in a different state. This is where I'm gonna try to be really good. He had to make so many phone calls that never got picked up and never got answered and never got returned, and no one ever came. And specifically, they had to call and ask for more clothes and more pants numerous times. And all of that leads into the abuse and things that he had to deal with. And no one ever picked up. The person that they called to say, your child needs you, they need new pants, never answered. Never returned the phone call. Never showed up. And so I realized all of a sudden as I was walking out, I was trying not to just start crying, that a simple showing up speaks volumes. He had a moment where basically this is the first time he's ever had to call me from his school. And so it was the first moment that there was a comparison point for him. As much as I don't want to compare, his whole world for the last year has been comparison points and figuring out which one's real, which one's not, which one is healthy, which one's not. Is this going to be as scary? Is it not? His whole world over this last year has been filled with those moments of, let's see if this is a different reaction than what I'm used to. Let's see if this is okay or not. And so today, we had tons of those moments at first, and those were shocking, but it was like you don't get used to hearing that your child needs to know that they're safe or know they can believe what you're gonna say and things like that. You don't get used to it, but we knew that was part of the process. And so it's been a while since we've had one of those, and today was one of those moments. Oh, the last time I had to call from school because I needed my mom, there was never a show up. And here I go calling my mom because I need her. And I think this fear probably rose up in him. And for his first response after he heard my voice to be peace, just reminds me, I never need reminded how worth it he is. But it just reminds me how amazing this role that God has put me in is. That he's given me this opportunity that my voice can bring peace to him. For starters, I never want to take that for granted. And then the second thing, for his next response to be, oh my gosh, you didn't have to stop what you were doing to bring me pants. Yes, I did. Like, he was concerned about what I had to stop doing to be there for him. Showing up is not hard. So, this is the spot. This is the spot, y'all, that my new mama heart goes crazy all the time. I mean, it goes crazy. I don't know that I would be able to see or feel this type of perspective if it weren't for all the stuff that's happened up to this point. I don't know that I would fully get the value of this role I'm playing in his life and how crazy important words are and how irreplaceable something as simple as showing up is. I'm not sure I would see the magnitude of it if Jackson was just ours from birth. And that's not to say, oh, everyone who's had a kid from birth, like, get your perspective right. That, please hear me. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I feel like God has put us in this beautiful place where I can see these things, and if I can share them and remind people that, you know what, it's tough being a mom, it's tough and it's hard, but man, don't forget, in all of the hard and in all of the work and in all of the struggle and all of the emotions, that something as simple as just being there and showing up holds more weight in your child's life than you could ever imagine. You're right, Stephanie. It is the small things. It's the small things that build up and add up. And so I would be lying if I said right now that my emotions are strictly, wow, look at this role that I'm blessed in. That's the gist of it. And the fact that I could make him feel comfort as a mom. But I'd be lying if I said that was it. And I'm trying to stay gracious, and I'm trying to stay understanding, and I'm trying to stay patient. But it is not hard. It is not hard to show up for your kids. It took me 10 minutes to bring him a new pair of pants. It is not hard to answer the phone. It is not hard to call back and say, I'm sorry if you missed the call. Maybe you don't owe that to your kid. I've heard that before and it irks me. Well, I'm the parent, that's the kid. I don't owe them an explanation. Fine, but how would you feel if I sat there and said, I don't owe you an explanation? I just didn't answer. Or I just didn't come. It is not hard to show up. else aside, all other parenting types aside, all other dealing with trauma, all other trying to be an amazing parent and trying to be a parent who grows your kids to where they have a relationship with Jesus, or you want your kids to know they're worthy, or you want your kids to, you want to see what their talent is and expand on it and help them know who they are. All of that aside, which is great, literally the basics, it's not hard to show up. And showing up carries more value than anything else. Anything else. I can't imagine not showing up. They could have said, he's got a hole in his shoe, and I still would have shown up. You know what I'm saying? They could have said he's got a hole in his shoe and now he's emotional. I would have been there. Obviously he needed new pants. Of course I'm going to bring him new pants because he ripped them playing. It's not hard to show up. I can't imagine a scenario where I know my child is sitting at school dealing with the effects of abuse, surrounded by his friends.
I found this on the web for effects of abuse. Check it out.
Siri just decided to tell me the effects of abuse. That was weird. Anyway, what I was saying, I can't imagine saying, you know what, my kid is having accidents at school and soiling himself and sick and the times that he is at school and all this, and I'm just not going to answer my phone. I'm going to let him sit there. That is the only thing I will say that points any kind of finger. I can't imagine. I can't imagine being that lost that that's an option to let my child sit there, let alone everything else that happened. So I almost don't even have words. I was driving back from school, just from his school, going, I'm in shock right now at how a simple showing up changed his whole day, and in some ways is continuing to change his whole little world, his whole world of everything he's known. It's not hard to show up. And we should have systems in place that recognize when parents aren't showing up for their kids. In fact, we do have systems in place. It's not hard to show up in your job either and follow that system. And I'll tell you right now, the school that Jackson's at wouldn't have stopped. They wouldn't have been okay with no one answering their phone and not showing up for him. I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful that he was sitting up with them, super nice lady, goofing around with them. I'm so thankful for that. I'm thankful for the fact that they blew up my phone and James's phone. I'm thankful for that. Because it's not hard to show up. You're not going to be a perfect parent, but if you show up, in your kid's mind, you're pretty much perfect. And I guess I'll just end on the perspective thing there of sometimes as a mom, I get so caught up in these little moments of like, did I do the right thing there? Did I not there? And I'll sit at night like analyzing my response or what we chose or whatever. And I'm like, oh, I don't want this to have a negative effect. And we have to be super intentional because of the trauma he's been through. But I get in my head, and I think a lot of moms, probably most moms do this, where you're like, did I do the right thing there? Is this the right, so much. And I guess I just want to encourage the moms today to just take a step back and go, are you showing up? Then you're doing a good job. You're doing a good job. You showing up and showing your kid in even the smallest ways that you will stop what you're doing for them. You're doing a good job. You're giving them the world. So I was just in so much shock and had so much going on in my head that I just felt like I needed to share that, and I needed to share this perspective, and I needed to also gain some perspective of, is this just something I see because of the circumstance, or is this one of those normal mom things that just hits you all of a sudden, that you're like, the value you carry into their life is huge. I mean, it's massive. I get to be that for him. Feeling him relax. All the stuff we're going through right now, all the lies swirling around and stuff that doesn't matter, that I try to take on and I try to control, and it doesn't matter. All of that has no bearing compared to just feeling him relax when I showed up. Yeah, Stephanie, I could definitely expand on that. There are some bad ones. And you know what? Maybe the bad ones, it's because they didn't have someone to show up for them. In fact, I guarantee a lot of that. They didn't have someone to show up for them, and they're just continuing the cycle. But at some point, you're responsible. And the second you bring a child into the world, you're absolutely responsible. And so I can't keep blaming past things on how I act now. I can't. That would be a great world if I could. It'd be easy, but I can't. I can choose to sit in it, or I can choose to do something about it and heal, and I can choose to refuse to let the cycle continue, which is where James and I are at. And Jackson is the end of the cycle. Can you just see what God is doing right there? So that's it, y'all. I just can't fathom how people miss it. And I just want to encourage y'all to not miss those little moments where they have peace because they hear your voice, or they relax because you show up. And even if you don't have a situation where it's like Jackson, where you'll hear the vocal side of it, just know every time you show up, it's massive. You're shaping their whole world. So I love you all. Sorry for the random live. That's where I'm at. You guys are awesome. Keep doing what you're doing. Be encouraged, moms. You're doing a good job. You carry so much value. If there's ever another step parent who watches this, just know you've been given this beautiful place of perspective and a place where you can speak value into your stepchild's life that most people don't have. It's up to you what you do with it, but it's been put in your hands, and it's an amazing space. God gifted you with it. So, love you all. Have an awesome day. I'll talk to you guys later.